Hey, Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. This is the Walmart exclusive WWE Ultimate Monday Night Wars Roddy Piper from WCW that I purchased on eBay on April 4th because the FOMO was so bad. If you don't know, FOMO is fear of missing out. And there's nothing that generates more FOMO than a Walmart exclusive, because Walmart exclusives are the worst thing to ever happen to toy collecting in the history of the industry. And not just because they're difficult to find, but because it's the ultimate representation of Walmart's outsized power in the toy business. They have killed all competition, and as lousy as Walmart is, they are the #1 toy retailer in America, if not the world. And that's bad. That's bad for variety. It's bad for fairness. It's bad for everything. So the Walmart exclusive is kind of the ultimate representation of that. And the fact that Walmart cares so little about their exclusives, about whether or not you ever see them in a store or are ever able to order them online. They just don't care. And yet they have the power to determine the success or failure of entire toy lines. Anyway, enough of my rant. So this is the one I bought on eBay for $65. Way more than I normally ever pay for anything, but this was a top 5 most wanted figure for me. Hot Rod is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, probably in my top 3, and WCW Hot Rod was a huge deal to me because when he came back to WCW, I hadn't seen him since I was a kid. There's a big blind spot in my personal wrestling memory of WWF from 87 to 97-ish, because I just, for whatever reasons, wasn't watching during that time. Came back to WCW, or discovered WCW in 96, and then in 97 started watching both just religiously. So when Piper showed up in WCW, it was my first real, oh my gosh, look at this guy, he's back, he's here. It was huge to me. And, you know, and that's not even counting his presence in movies and television and whatever else. He's just one of the greatest talkers of all time, thoroughly entertaining in every way. So I decided, you know what, much like I did, I think the last thing I did this with was the Masters of the Universe Origin Scare Glow. So yes, it has been a while, I guess 4 years probably, since I've gone ahead and knowingly overpaid for something just so I wouldn't have to. No, I take it back. Masters of the Universe Origin Scare Glow, Tiger Force Outback, which is the dumbest one I've done, which I don't feel dumb because I got it. I got what I wanted. But then, you know, now he's at Ollie's for like $8 or whatever. But whatever, that was a figure I had to have. And again, with this one, I had to have this figure, and it was worth it to me to know I've got it. I don't have to think about it anymore. So, of course, today, which is April the 12th, about an hour before this arrived from USPS, I found that at my local Walmart. That never has anything, by the way. So I'm going to open both of them. I had thought at one point about maybe doing a giveaway or something, but there are enough significantly different looks here that I'm going to display both of these figures opened up on the shelf. So yeah, let's get to it. So WWE Ultimate. This is part of, oh, look at this. This is specifically from Nitro. April, look at that. April, the month we're in right now, 1997. Wow, I like that the date is on there. I don't know that they always do that. I can't say I've noticed it before. But this is part of the Monday Night Wars series of figures representing the you know, from 96 to really, I guess 2000, the competition between WCW and WWF, and it was amazing at the time, from Glasgow, Scotland. Right. 6 foot 2 inches, 230 pounds, from Glasgow, Scotland. The finisher, the sleeper hold. Career highlights: WCW United States Champion, As the NWO sought to upend WCW, Hot Rod arrived to even the odds. Finally, WCW had a force as chaotic as the entire NWO itself, leading to a main event of the Wolfpack against Piper, Ric Flair, and NFL legend Kevin Green. I cannot even tell you how exciting all of this was to be witnessing and experiencing in person every Monday. It's just incomparable. Nothing else has been quite like it. So I had to have this Piper. Let's open it up and check it out. I had the opportunity to meet Roddy Piper at a convention in 2012 called Days of the Dead in Atlanta. It was a horror convention. And I've got, well, I guess I can throw up the picture maybe here. So I brought him that bucket of bubble gum and told him I wanted to make sure he didn't run out for the good of myself and everybody else at the convention. He laughed. He couldn't have been more gracious. Just the nicest guy ever. I got to witness a moment between him and Gary Busey. That'll go right here, I guess. And I hope I remember to put those pictures in. I hadn't planned on doing any reviews today, but this is too significant an action figure to me for me to have not done a review. And I don't do a lot of wrestling reviews anymore because people just don't watch them, but whatever. Just when you think you know the answers, I change the questions. And sooner or later, everybody pays the piper. I don't believe either of those quotes is actually from WCW, but that's okay. All right. Let's get this figure out of here, see what we've got. One thing I realized, because I posted online that I found these. I don't do a ton of engaging with the major wrestling figure podcast Facebook group. But every once in a while I do like to sort of check in there and get people's thoughts about things. So I did share that I found the Piper ended up with two of them. And somebody asked, how are you going to display them? And my first thought was, well, I'm going to do one with the leather jacket, the kilt, the everything, and probably the reality check shirt. And then I'll do the other one in just trunks with the icon shirt. And then I realized something that I'll show you in just a minute here. A reason why that's not going to work. But I'm probably still going to display one of them with just the trunks. They've gotten a lot of use out of these leather jackets, haven't they? Because I also bought, and I don't believe I'm going to do a review of it, because I just don't have as much sentimentality for it, but I got the Bret Hart figure as well. Because the Bret Hart, the Ultimate Bret Hart, is also from 1997, or I think it is at least. But whatever the case, when I picture Bret Hart in my head, that Ultimate is that Monday Night Wars Ultimate is what I see. And that's just, which makes that figure the iconic Bret Hart to me. And I've got one of the other Bret Hart Ultimates that's from earlier in his career, and it's great. But if I could only have one, this is the one I would want, or the one that I bought today is the one that I would want. So what I realized is, I'm not going to call it a problem because it's a design choice. I guess for me it's a problem. With these shirts, they're sleeveless shirts so that they can go under the jacket. But what that means is you can't display the shirt on the figure. No Velcro. Oh, Mattel, you're learning. But that means you can't just put the shirt on the figure and display it that way, because Piper did not wear sleeveless shirts. All of his shirts had sleeves. Gosh, this looks great. Okay. Take a look at the figure first. First of all, that portrait is... those didn't quite make it out of the shot, did they? I've got a ton of stuff stacked up on the side here. I still haven't put up my G.I. Joe Ultimates from their review. So this has, the ultimate articulation that is such a selling point of this particular line. But if I'm being honest, the improved articulation on these means nothing to me. What I'm interested in is the different portraits, and usually the specific version of the character that they're doing. The articulation, especially this pointless toe articulation, I'm not a fan of this at all, ever, on anything. Their articulation doesn't mean much to me. But it is good. It is, if you want to have wrestling matches, then this is the figure you want for it. So the portrait, let's do a little zoom in here. Then that stuff will be out of frame. Oh, am I going to have trouble with the zoom again? Okay, here we go. I mean, look at that portrait. Fantastic. The facial hair is absolutely perfect. The eyes look great. The hair looks great. This is, again, when I picture him in my head, as much as I was a fan of Piper when I was a kid, this 97 WCW Piper is what I picture. His torso is, maybe a little more muscly than it probably should be, maybe a little leaner than it probably should be, but at least he doesn't have like a Finn Balor six-pack. In general, the wrestling figure companies have been trying to do a little better with representing the right physiques. And look, it's an action figure. It's supposed to be sort of super heroic in a way. His belt looks great, and the way that they've decided, look at that. It just works, or it looks like just a belt when it's on. It doesn't have all these horrible little pegs on it. The kilt, this is the kilt I picture, no matter what era Piper I'm thinking of. Just this simple red with the white crosshatch on it. This is what I picture. It's got little tabs on the side, which is pretty neat. Nice touch. A little Velcro at the top. And then underneath, we've got Piper ready to fight that coward Hulk Hogan. Just blue trunks, blue knee pads. He's got the old school athletic socks, brown boots with the RP in gold on the side. And it doesn't show up super well, but go back and look. It didn't show up super well on TV either. The knee pads are nice and soft, so they're not really going to interfere with your articulation very much. Boots are nicely detailed. The things that I am waiting for Mattel to improve that are far past the expiration date are these ankles that are just whack. That's really all I can say about them. I mean, what is this? It is 2024. Every figure on the market has that new style ankle where the peg goes in like this. And it has so much wider range of motion than these Mattel ankles. These rocker ankles are old news. Get rid of them. And then the waist. This waist joint's terrible. And there's just no reason for a figure that costs this much to have this kind of waist joint. Now, they have added the drop-down hips, which I appreciate, but fixing the waist joint should have come long before the drop-down hips, because to me, that is a much bigger issue than the improvement in range that those drop-down hips give us. For the most part, the figure is very good. My complaint about all Mattel figures is the legs are too long, and they are. But this is a good Roddy Piper figure. Best one ever made, possibly. I don't have the Coliseum Collection one because I just don't like that LJN Toys kilt on it. I don't. Those colors are just too much. I don't like it. So there you go. We're going to go ahead and put that kilt back on him because for the look that this one is going to have on the shelf, we are going to need the kilt. And I want to see how it works together. Like where the belt sits versus, where, you know what? Actually, the kilt needs to go on last because we got to put one of these shirts on. So we've got two different shirts. We've got the Icon shirt. Very stretchy material, so they were able to eliminate that ugly Velcro that's on so many of their shirts. And Mattel is making progress. They are making changes. They are making great decisions about improvements in their product, and I really appreciate that. But the reality check shirt, this is the one that I see on this Piper. So let's get it on him. And it just goes on just like you put on a shirt. Oh, you know what? We can make this easier, though, because we're going to have to do this anyway. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and pop that head off, too, because we've got 2 alternate portraits. So, yeah, let's make putting this shirt on as easy as possible. Goes right on there. Now, as I said, it is sleeveless, which, you know, I can't help but wonder, if you'd put sleeves on it, couldn't you just sort of smush them up? Nah, probably not. You really couldn't have. It kind of has to be sleeveless to work the way it's designed to. So now we've got his reality check shirt on. We are going to put, because he did do a tuck. He would tuck the shirt into the kilt. So they got the kilt on. And then we're going to put the belt on top of that, which it's going to sit just below that seam there, because I do believe there should be a little bit of kilt sticking out above the belt. Now, should he have a sporran? Yes, he should. Well, oh no, yeah, he should have a sporran. That's disappointing. That's what that pouch on the front of the Scotsman's kilt is called. So that's a little disappointing that they overlooked that detail. But not a deal breaker for me. Okay, so that's how we're going to have that part of it. Next up, we're going to put the leather jacket on the torso. And then we got to plug these arms into place. That is going to be our left arm. Uh-oh. This might be a little trickier than I had anticipated. There we go. Okay, nice little pop when it goes into place. All right, cool. And hopefully the sleeve holes are not too significant. No, they're good. And you can see, only because we're looking at it and we've got light shining down there and whatever, but I would say those sleeve holes are about as snug as you could want them to be on something like this. And from the front, they look good. So we're in good shape there. Let's see. I'm going to put the fists on him because Piper is always ready to fight. You know what? How in the world, you know, mentioning the sporran being left out, that's one thing. But you don't give Roddy Piper a microphone and C-grips? That is crazy. Now, look, I've got drawers full of C-grips that I can put on him, but that's nuts. I mean, this Piper walks out, he's got a microphone in his hand, he's ready to talk. So that's kind of an oversight too, and I realize there's a budget on these things, and there's only so much they can do. And while I appreciate the thought of the gesturing hands, these would not have been my choice over a microphone and C-grips. Okay, so we've got a smiling head, a smiling, crazy-looking head. One of the best Piper portraits I've ever seen in the history of wrestling figures. Just absolutely phenomenal. This is the portrait of a Piper who knows he's ruining Hulk Hogan's day. And then the yelling, this is going to be the one that I put on the Trunks version, just ready to fight. So, crazy happy Piper. I'm going to have to dig up a C-grip and a microphone because I can't just have gesture hands on Roddy Piper. That just doesn't even... I get what they were going for, but no. That's not going to work for me. It's not going to work for me, brother. So there he is, the Hot Rod, Rowdy, Roddy Piper, here to beat up the NWO figures you have on your shelf. Just phenomenal. There are a couple little issues I have, a couple of decisions that I don't quite understand. But at the end of the day, this is a Roddy Piper that I have needed on my shelf forever, because I had a Toy Biz one very, very similar to... Matter of fact, I've still got the Toy Biz one. Very similar to this, but just not satisfying. This is truly the ultimate Roddy Piper action figure. And I am delighted to be getting ready to go and put it on my shelf. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. Tell your friends about Needless Things. I review whatever I want to review. G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe, wrestling, whatever. Just keep an eye on the page. Subscribe and do the little bell thing so you know when a new one goes up and whether you want to watch it or not. Until next time, just keep an eye out for great toys. Buy what you like.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.